Former Governor Dick Lamm, October 2003. When Democrats in high office did love America. When Democrats in high office did believe in national sovereignty. When Democrats in high office did believe in America and assimilation. That's not the case anymore, and it's certainly not the case with their media, their professors, and their freeloaders who want free student loans. And now marching in the street as if it's their right. America needs to rise up in numbers we've never seen before in every election possible, or we're going to lose this place. It's that simple. I think we're already losing it. We're unraveling right before your eyes. And these clowns in the White House and this regime will take down as many allies with them as they can. And they are. And they are. Look what they've done to our own military. They're hollowing out our own military. People don't want to join anymore. And they run the numbers based on race because, you know, everything's race and power. There is a dearth of white young people coming forward to join the United States military. Why? Because they're discriminated against. That's why. But there's a dearth of everybody in every race and background coming forward to join the United States military. We're an all-volunteer army. And so our numbers are going down in terms of recruitment, and yet we have people of the same age group marching in the streets and demanding that you and I pay for their student loans. That's a nation that's dying. And you can blame the Democrat Party. I was just told the Democrat Party hates America. We've sold well over 350,000, almost 400,000 books. And it just keeps chugging along. I was also told that the sales of Barnes & Noble compared to the other books were very low because Barnes & Noble censored the book. The sales at Walmart, Costco, Amazon, excellent, all the other retailers, but Barnes & Noble, except Hudson. I think we sold 12 books or something. Another joke. Claimed to be for free speech and reading. Yeah. Just don't attack Biden, the Democrats, and you know. But in the context of what's going on this board, I want you to listen to the late liberal Democrat governor of Colorado, Dick Lamm, and tell me if there's another Democrat in a leadership position anywhere that thinks and speaks as clearly as this man. And this was an event, as I said, in Washington, and this wasn't supposed to be a subject. He walks up to the podium in front of all these bigwigs, and he decides, I have got to talk about something. I've got to explain something. Now that you're all gathered here. And today, Dick Lamm would be dismissed as a racist by the racists at MSNBC. He'd be accused of being a racist by the racists at CNN. Cut 22, go.
I would like to share with you my plan to destroy America. If you think, and some do, that America is too smug, too rich, too self-satisfied, not diverse enough, too white bread, I have this plan. Toynbee, said that all great nations rise and they all fall. And he said, and the autopsy of history is all great nations commit suicide. So here's my plan.
There. I want you to listen to what he just said. Great nations rise and they fall. And an autopsy of history shows they destroy themselves. Those are the most profound words you will hear all month. And unfortunately, it's our generation doing it, and you're witnessing it right now. Our generation and our kids. with a doddering old buffoon in the Oval Office, surrounded by these Marxist bastards who hate this country. Obamaites. Obamaites. Let's start at the top again, Mr. Producer. Former Governor Dick Lamm, the deceased governor, liberal Democrat from Colorado. Go.
I would like to share with you my plan to destroy America. If you think, and some do, that America is too smug, too rich, too self-satisfied, not diverse enough, too white bread, I have this plan. Toynbee, said that all great nations rise and they all fall. And he said, and the autopsy of history is all great nations commit suicide. So here's my plan, 8 parts. Number 1, I'd make it a bilingual, bicultural country. History shows us that no bilingual, bicultural country lives at peace with itself. There's not one, I believe, that doesn't exist with an incredible amount of tension and conflict, if not civil war. My second part of my plan would be to invent something called multiculturalism. This would be 2 parts. Number 1, I would say that all cultures are created equal. It would make no difference and make it impossible to talk about such things as culture. And the second one is that I would really try very hard to make people continue their cultural identity. I would replace the melting pot with the salad bowl. My third part of my plan would be to make the fastest growing demographic group in that country the least educated. I would add a second underclass to the first underclass, unassimilated, undereducated, antagonistic, and then I'd have 50% of them drop out of school, not graduate from high school. The fourth part of my plan would be to get the big foundations to fund, and big business to fund these efforts with lots of money. I would invest in ethnic identity and victimology. I would get them to think about their lack of success was only the fault of the majority. I would start a grievance industry. The fifth part of my plan is I would develop dual citizenship. I would promise people actually divided loyalties, allow them to vote for both Vicente Fox and George Bush. The sixth part, and this is important, I would place all of these subjects off limits. I would make it taboo to talk about, actually, or criticize this whole thing. I would make it come up with a word like heretic used to be 200 years ago. Let's say we'd call it racist. And I would try to accuse anybody of this that would object to my ideas. My seventh part, then, I would make it impossible to enforce our immigration laws. I would develop a mantra, let's call it this, that because immigration has been good in the past for America, it will continue to be good in the future. My eighth and last part, and it's important, is I would censor this book. This man is dangerous. He's on to my plan. Don't read this book.
And he was pointing to Victor Davis Hanson in his book, Mexophonia. Mexophonia. A Democrat. Anybody who speaks that way today on radio or TV is viciously attacked and character assassinated. Donald Trump says these things. And so he's anti-immigrant. See how it works? But it even gets more sinister, more evil, when Jean Pierre, what comes out of her mouth, what she's told to say. And she must get paid a lot of money in her mind because she's destroyed any reputation she may have had. And Jackie Heinrich, who I admire, is a very good reporter at the White House. Cut 21, go.
Will the administration then amend its separate statement that imply that Texas officials were responsible for the deaths of 3 migrants when, in fact, they had nothing to do with it? They had already been dead for an hour by the time Mexico told anyone in the U.S. about it. And the administration admitted as much in their court filing. They acknowledged that in their court filing, but the statement from the White House implies that Texas was responsible, and a number of outlets were forced to issue corrections and editor's notes because of that White House statement. So will the White House amend that statement?
So let's be sensitive here. 3 people died. 3 migrants died. 2 children and a woman. That was devastating. Devastating situation, heartbreaking situation.
Devastating situation, lady? Devastating situation? You understand what you and your party and your president have unleashed on this country and have unleashed on those migrants? Sex trafficking, rape tents, separating little kids from their parents at records we've never seen before. Tens of thousands of teenagers from other countries let loose in this country doing slave labor. That's the kind of slavery they don't talk about. The criminals coming across, likely terrorists, why wouldn't they? Nobody's being tested for any viruses, any communicable diseases. Nobody's being tested for measles, and we now have an outbreak at Dulles Airport and Reagan Airport of measles. Diseases that we conquered long ago. And in our inner cities, and in the interior of the United States, the numbers are adding up. Children can't go to their schoolrooms because rooms made for illegal aliens. Hotels, like the Roosevelt Hotel in New York, they don't have paying customers anymore. They have illegal aliens filling up their rooms, subsidized by the city and state of New York. This is going on all over the country. We have law enforcement chasing the same recidivists coming here illegally and committing crimes, including murder. The gang situation is completely out of control in this country, with MS-13 and these other gangs getting their orders from Central and South American headquarters. Emergency rooms are full. Classrooms are full. She says, let's be sensitive, America. Let's be sensitive. We're more than sensitive. We're suckers. We're suckers. Go ahead.
Mindful of what we're talking about here. I want to take a step back and
shut up, you idiot. Let me just tell you what took place here. 3 migrants died. The Biden White House tried to exploit it, which is what they do. Like October 7th in Israel, they're trying to exploit it now. Because they're cold-blooded, power-hungry radicals. That's what they are. So they're blaming Texas. They're blaming the patriotic, red-blooded citizens who serve in Texas law enforcement. Law enforcement. For the death of those 3 migrants, when they had absolutely nothing to do with it. Zero. They weren't even there when it happened. The Mexican government even says it happened an hour before they even showed up. The Department of Justice suing Texas for trying to secure its own borders because the damn federal government is working for the other side, just as they're working for Iran. They want Texas to lie down and roll over and play dead. As all this is happening to the people of Texas, they're angry with the governor, who's doing everything humanly possible to stop this, to draw attention to it. It's the governor's fault, don't you know? It's the Texas police. It's their fault. People are dying. It's the Republicans' fault. They wouldn't go for comprehensive immigration before. I want to remind you, when Nikki Haley runs around in New Hampshire and talks about Trump and chaos, I want to remind you that when Joe Biden runs around and talks about democracy, He means anarchy. He means autocracy. What's going on our border is not supported by the American people. Overwhelming majority of Americans, every walk of life in this country, even Hispanic Americans, can you believe it? The Democrat Party and the media, they're floored. What, Hispanic Americans? Because they see everything through ethnicity and groups and stereotypes. Yes, citizens, American citizens, all of them. They've had enough. They've had enough. But so what? You have the Speaker of the House, Republican, who's drawn the line and says there's no budget deal till you fix the border. And so now the Biden administration is blaming the Republicans and Trump. We sent them a bill just enforce existing law. But they defy it. One more time, Republicans on Capitol Hill. One more time, and I'll keep saying it. This is an impeachable offense. Get your asses out of your offices. Go to the floor of the House. Have your articles ready and start with immigration right at the top.